Hi everyone, a viewer called IT asked how I managed to do the electric blue effect on the Imperial Knight, so this is a step by step, try and replicate it. So got a base coat of bad and black, and then the first colour we use is lead belcher. So I've watered these down a touch because my paint's a little bit on the dry side. So using a stippling brush, just going to go for quite a random effect. There's a couple of different things you can do here. You can try and go for a pattern or just random streaks, or you can also try and go for a cloudy effect, which is what I'm aiming for here. So I'll get about 50% of the black covered, and as we go through we'll get more of that covered with the other colours. You can add as much or as little as you want, just once you feel happy. Stop. Okay, then moving on to iron breaker. Again, this has been watered down slightly. Another one of those dry paints. At least it's dry for me. Might just be the lighter use can be a bit warm. So again, aiming to spread it on randomly. Now, a lot of people would recommend using either cardboard or tissue to absorb the paint from your brush while you're stippling. Feel free to do that. I've just got the bad habit of using the back of my hand. It just feels as though I have a bit more control over it. Okay. As you're stippling this on, it is going on pretty dry, so drying times don't normally take too long. And then the next colour is Runefang Steel, and with this one what we'll try and do is pick out some of the areas that have got the biggest build up, just to lighten up that particular patch, and that will try and add a bit of depth to the clouds that I'm creating. Or if you're doing streaks, you can go for the centre of the streaks or one side of the streak. But something I figured out when I did this the first time was I didn't want to highlight it with this colour. This is just for the effect. I'll go over it with the next colour to pick out the highlights. And as we're using a clear coat, it can be quite difficult to highlight afterwards. It's quite easy to put shade onto it. You can use normal gloss or Grax Earth Shade Gloss, or if you're going for a worn appearance, you can use the normal oil or Grax Earth Shade, but that will be quite cloudy, and put a matte element on it which can take away from the clear coat that you've put on. So next colour, Stormhouse Silver. Okay, and what I've decided to use, instead of filling the tip of the brush with paint, what I'd like to try and do is dip the brush in flow improver, because that will help keep the point, and then just pick up a small amount, as much as you need, on the tip of your brush. And then now we'll start edge highlighting. It's quite a slow process, edge highlighting. Can understand why some people prefer to just dry brush, and if that's what you want to do, I'm sure it'll work. But since it's a cloudy armour effect that I've gone for, dry brushing could take away from that, because you won't know if the dry brushing is part of the armour effect or part of the highlighting. So not being perfectly accurate with this, I just don't want to keep you waiting too long. Can take me a lot longer than a lot of other people to do edge highlighting. For one aggressor, it took me 4 hours to do the first coat of green. This is not helpful. Don't let your cows come up on your painting bench. You get down. Come on. Down. Come here. Sorry about that. No wonder why I always get fluff stuck to my models. But cats have got a mind of their own. It's upset with me now. Now you could, I've not tried it, but it's a possibility you could do a thin down Stormo Silver after putting the clear coat on. The reason I didn't is I thought it'd be safe to do it beforehand, but each their own. I mean, it's all an experiment. this stuff. As you may have seen from some of my other Dark Angels models, the main colour for the weapons are red according to the codex, but I can't get on with the red on it. I'm fine at painting red. I do enjoy painting like Death Watch with red weapons, but for Dark Angels, somebody once upon a time called them Christmas Marines, and ever since then all I see are walking Christmas trees. So that's when I looked at it and thought, right, okay, what colour would not take away from the green but also fit in a bit better than just black, and that's when I tried dark blue. It seems to work, it works for me. The robes are a slight problem because doing blue on the robes, it doesn't quite fit in as well as it does on the weapons, but again, painting them red just looks just daft for me, especially if you don't get the robes white enough, the cream and red. I just think it against the green just looks horrible. I mean, there's occasions when cream and red are perfect together. When you look at Blood Ravens, it's absolutely perfect, the combination of red and cream they got working there, and it was in the right proportions, but just not on green. Sorry, a bit of a rant there. I'll have left a lot of patches here that haven't been highlighted, but you'll be able to get the idea. I normally advise leaving paint to dry for a bit, but hopefully with this small amount that we put on it shouldn't be too much of a problem. So in my airbrush I've got Forge World paint, Calth Blue Clear. So we're going to paint more blue. So just pulling back on the trigger enough to get the right amount that you want to come out, and then slowly start building it up. So I'll come a bit further down where I've not done the stippling, just so you can see the more black that you leave, the darker the blue you'll achieve, and the more blue that you airbrush on, the richer the blue. So just try and help that dry a bit. It's just air coming out there now, no paint. And then once you start to see the wet gloss effect come off, you know it's dry again, ready for a second coat. Okay, just finding the right level again. That's good. Now once you start building up the layers with a clear coat, what I found is if you angle the piece that you're doing to the light, you can see how wet paint's getting. So once you start to see it pooling, you know that you need to come back off the trigger, just let some air through and let it dry for a touch. Now you can always leave it for 20 minutes, half an hour, to let the coat fully cure, and then come back to put more on. So just putting on small marks there. Okay. So there we have it. So it's got a nice cloudy effect on it. You can see the edge highlighting's come through quite nicely, and then the cloudy effect going through the 3 silvers allows it to build up in just the right amount, and then the more black you leave, the darker you can get those recesses to contrast with the Runefang steel. And then with the Stormhouse silver, even against the Runefang steel, it shows up as a highlight as opposed to just part of the armour effect. So as I say, from here what you could use is say Ultron Grey, Stormhouse silver, just to pick out the edges, or you can leave it as it is. I'd recommend, if you did want to put a shade on it, use one of the gloss ones, and then that'll keep that sheen that you get from the clear coat. So I hope this has helped, and if you have any other questions or things you'd like me to show you, just let me know.